Welcome back on this Biashara Tuesday show where we are talking about personal branding. And in studio, I am joined by Gamaliel Gerisho Malungu. He strictly reminded me not to mention or pronounce his name in a wrong way. So Gamaliel is joining us this morning for a conversation on personal branding. And we are going to demystify all the myths. We are going to talk about a brand is not a logo. A brand is your identity. A brand is the promise you keep. A brand is your differentiation. A brand makes business memorable. And a brand these days, making a brand is absolutely free. So we are going to have more on that. But first, Gamaliel, please introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Very important for having me today. I should have started with my name, but let me start with my purpose. I'm a world leader who is passionate about providing long-lasting solutions to the world with excellence. And all this is capped under my brand, Permanent Success Consultancy, which is one of the biggest brands that has ever existed, I believe so. Yeah, I am leadership and productivity coach and trainer, and that's what I have been doing for the past 4 years. And I'm so glad with the impact that I'm making on a daily basis. And I believe with this conversation about personal branding, will continue to impact the world, especially on people who are looking forward to grow themselves in different industries across the world.
Just to set this ball rolling, what propels you or what makes you move as a brand? What is it, this important thing that makes you push yourself as a brand?
Yeah, thank you for that question. When I'm looking at, first of all, the brand that I am bearing, Permanent Success Consultancy, several people have asked me, what do you mean by permanent success? Is there really permanent success? Yes, it is. It is there. And looking at where I have come from, and you know, for me, I'm a very, let me say, staunch believer of Jesus Christ, of God. And one of the things that really stands out for me is the fact that God has never created anyone to suffer or anyone to come and loiter around looking for things which they are supposed to do. So permanent success, in brief, I know we're going to have much more discussions around it, is all about demystifying that you are supposed to succeed. You are meant to succeed. You're supposed to make it, that there is no room for you to fail. So as we carry it forth, we have comprehensive trainings that we are doing just to give you skills, to give you the know-how, because knowledge is very important. Even one day God himself lamented that my people perish for lack of knowledge. And I believe with the brand, even as we continue with the conversation, I'll be able to tell much more about how we can be able to grow even as individuals. Yes.
Now, we are already rolling.
All right.
So let's get this in a business perspective. Now, having, you consider yourself as a brand, so there is one thing about having something visual to describe you, that when someone sees it, he says, okay, this is Permanent Success, this is Coca-Cola, this is Bugatti, this is Mercedes. There is that logo that it's visual. Someone sees it at that. So at some point, it's considered not so important in a business perspective that a logo will not sell your product. A logo will not sell your service. So how has this been for you? How do you consider the visual impression of someone having a brand?
Yeah, I don't think that a logo is a representation of a brand, because I'll use very simple examples. Like you were called Sylvia. Apparently, your parent could have named you another name. So Sylvia necessarily could not have been your brand. It's the same thing to a logo. A logo, yes, it's just a representation, but still you could have another logo. So what really builds the brand is actually what you do, is what you're bringing into the market. That's what stands out for you. Is your competitive edge in the market that actually builds the brand. So when we talk about the logo, the colors, that's just part of branding, but the real branding is what really defines you in the market.
Talking about your definition in the market, how exactly can someone stand out as a brand in the market?
Standing out in the market is all about the problem that you are solving, because there are so many problems. I remember the first video I recorded when I was still in Kenyatta University. I said that a business is built on a problem that many people are facing. So once you have studied a problem and looking at your purpose, looking at your skills, looking at your passion, you see that I have something that will definitely solve the problems of these people. Then definitely you've already started building a brand, because that is what will identify you with the people. So besides that, and here's where now everything should always originate from, because over time I've interacted with people on not only personal angles but also corporately. And one thing that I came to notice is so many people run for things which they think will make them money. At the end of the day, they end up being frustrated because they forgot the initial stage, which is purpose. So you see, purpose is built on something. And when I look at this, I'll give a very good example. If someone needs to buy a phone, the first thing that they always think about is, what is that phone going to help me with? So once they know the purpose of the phone, they go and look for it. So many times people forget the purpose and they go for what they want, which many times is just to satisfy their immediate gratification. So at the end of the day, it's not sustainable. But once you've discovered the purpose of your brand, this is what I want to do, then you have to focus on, what am I going to give to these people? What is it that I'm going to solve in the market? What is it that will stand out for me? So for someone who is in business, you must always start from that point. And the initial stage is definitely purpose. Purpose is the original intent of something. So that means you'll be sustainable for long. But if you do not have the purpose, which is many times I normally say it is the why you are doing it, then you can be swayed around by anything, by waves. One of the biggest brands that I have associated myself since I was born is Jesus. When you look at Jesus as a brand, because that is what I can really talk about, he is the same yesterday, today, and forever. That is how a brand should always look like. You should be the same yesterday, today, and forever. The fact that you keep on changing, it means that you did not know your why when you're going for the business. And you did not define it. Why? Because maybe you're just carried by waves. Oh, someone is starting a business and it's making him or her good money. Let me start it as well. And then at the end of the day, if the business is not making money, you switch to something else.
So would you before we confuse or we take our viewer, it's like we have skipped. We have mentioned brand, and a brand needs to be, you need to have a purpose, you need to know what you're doing and stick to it, you need to be the same. So in just a brief definition, how would you define a brand? How would you say, like, okay, this is a brand?
All right, I will say that a brand is an intentional process where you are building yourself on something. So this is normally built on the value. So you are doing it on a daily basis. You are consistently doing it. So a brand is that process whereby on a single day, every day, you are doing something to make yourself known. So what does that mean? A brand should always be identified with quality of something, with value, just as I've said before. So as you are doing it on a daily basis, you come and discover that you are growing every day. But many people will want to identify a brand with something that has already grown, with social media, with fame, and things like that. But at the end of the day, you have to be intentional about crafting it, about communicating it. And it must always be built on character of purpose. Character of purpose, I mean that when you know this is what I want to do, then you form everything around it. Then now, that is a brand.
Often, when someone is building themselves as a brand, these days it's confused to be social media presence,
yes,
in terms of your following and all that. But there is this, you need to be authentic when building your brand. So how does someone juggle between being authentic in terms of what they believe in terms of what they, their values are, and what the business needs, like what the business takes and what they believe. How does someone balance between the two?
Yeah, that's a very important question, because in my coaching sessions, I think I've had several people who have wallowed in the pressure of social media. As far as social media is important as a tool to make sure that your brand is well known, but as well you can easily slip on the side of not offering quality services just because you need following, just you need to be famous and stuff like that. And one thing that I've discovered, that many people really compromise their values. They compromise their character. They compromise what they really stand for because of social media presence. And there are people as well, they are still using the same opportunity to make themselves known, but they are still standing on values, on characters that really build a brand. So you need to balance both of them to make sure that you are growing in social media, but you do not compromise your values. Because you realize that sometimes when it comes to getting many followers, you may compromise to what people really want on social media, and then you compromise the original intent of what you are doing, because social media is full of waves. So full of waves. So today something will be trending, but tomorrow it will not be trending. So you find yourself like, oh, because this is trending, let me align myself with it. But you are aligning with something that is not aligning with your values. So social media is very good, but you must always make sure that whatever you are doing on social media, it aligns with your value. Let it always build on that brand. Yes.
But I just have something that is confusing when it comes to making a brand or making your brand sell. For example, Starbucks, Art Cafe, when you hear that name, you think of coffee.
Yes.
You think of burgers.
Yes.
And the same business is done by a restaurant at the corner of the street, someone selling coffee, even maybe better coffee than the one sold on at Cafe. So at some point, it's a matter of attention. So how do you balance between this pressure? I heard somewhere where a speaker was saying that for you to be known, for you to make a sale, you need attention. So how do you manage with this pressure of trying to build, to get attention for your brand, and trying to, sometimes when, let me say this, sometimes doing saying loudly what you do is perceived to be bragging. So how do you balance between talking about what you do to get attention and balancing between that and being perceived as a person who is bragging?
All right. This is what I'll say categorically is you cannot be known for everything, no matter how good you are at them. Someone said it's better to be known for something than to be known for nothing. What does that mean? There are individual people who are very brilliant. They have very good services. They are positioned in very good marketplaces, but they are known for nothing. Why? Because they are consistently doing different things. For me to give you attention, that means there is a specific thing that you're known for. There is a specific thing that you always do consistently. And you see, in one of my trainings, I've always said that whatever you focus on the longest becomes the strongest. How is it becoming the strongest? Because today I will come in your shop and just like you've mentioned at Cafe, and you serve me coffee. Based on its quality, I'm going to tell someone else that I was at Cafe and they served me very good coffee. Then imagine the same person that I've referred your services to comes and they find that you're serving African tea. So you realize that consistency is not there. So that attention will always come when you are consistent with not many things, but with one thing. Yes, you can diversify as you grow, as you continue, because you realize when you're serving people, you'll always identify needs. But you're building those needs on what you originally planned to do. You mentioned something that is also very, I don't like using the word confusing, but because you've mentioned it, I'll use it. That people say that when you speak about your achievements, you are bragging. As it may, it is not true. Because when I tell you about what I've done, I'm talking about my story. I'm talking about my impact. I'm building trust in you to tell you that I've not started to do this thing now. I started it long time ago. And I realized even when you were introducing me, you mentioned something that over 4 years of experience in doing leadership and productivity. What is that doing? I'm not bragging, but I'm telling you that I've already earned credibility. I've already earned experience and expertise in doing these things. That's why when you go for the interview, they ask you about your experience. Your experience is what you've done, is your achievements before. So you cannot be telling me when you're going for the interview, you are actually bragging. Because nobody likes people or loves people who are bragging, because even the Bible advises us to be humble. So I want to discourage that notion that when you stand to speak and you speak about your achievements, you are bragging. It's not bragging. And the people who say that, I'm sorry to say it, because you are envious. You have nothing to show. That's why you say that this person is bragging, because I'm 100% sure if you have something to show, you will definitely speak about it because you're proud of your progress.
Okay, let's talk about what branding does in differentiating businesses at the market. Because when, let's use an example of when you talk about Mercedes, someone thinks about comfortability.
Yes.
Someone thinks about luxury. When you talk about, what else? Coca-Cola.
Yes.
Someone thinks about the feeling of relaxation, family, and it's when it's hot, someone thinks about Coca-Cola rather than water. So what role does, can we say that what you bring to the table, you're compelling to feelings, you're compelling to emotions, and what the niche you take, you need to be a good storyteller in that so that you can differentiate your brand from others?
Yes. Yes, it's very vital, especially for people in business. And it's not just for people in business, even individuals. Because I think there is another misconception where people think, and I know we probably will have a discussion about it, that a brand is always associated with businesses or famous people or influencers or something of the sort. But when you look at it deeply, and this is what people need to understand, that at the end of the day, for you to stand out, you must offer something that is not offered in the market. You must always do that, because that is what gives you credibility. That's what builds trust. I've always been speaking about this, that don't just do things because people are doing. Do it because you really want to offer value. Unless you are doing that, then you will never be known. You are never building a brand. Look at the examples you've mentioned about Mercedes-Benz. You can imagine how prestigious a Mercedes car is. I would really love to drive a Mercedes because of the name that even it builds for you as an individual. Probably I would not want to drive any other car just because Mercedes is there, and it also helps me to build a brand. So what is Mercedes offering? Apart from the name that is very prestigious, look at comfort. Look at how it looks even from outside. It looks beautiful. So when you look at your brand, how do you look? How do people see you? When they come into your business, what differentiates you from the other people? That's what makes you stand out. And many times when I've been doing customer service training, I've always told people that you are in a competition for feelings. In one single day, a human being has more than 400 different emotions. So as long as you are in business, people do not have a problem paying for quite expensive products or services, as long as you can make them feel good. How do you make them feel good? By how you talk to them. That's one. Number two, because you see, you have to associate with a human being, because there is a human aspect in every business. And that's why people have to see your face. People have to see your story. People have to see your achievement so that they can easily associate with it. But at the end of the day, I normally ask myself, you could be offering quality service, but poor customer service. I will not come there. I guarantee you 101%. I value my moods. I value how I feel. So if you have quality service, make sure you also have quality products, quality services. At the end of the day, the word of mouth is more powerful than social media. Because at the end of the day, I may not humanize myself with a social media presence. Yes, I could. But once I come and experience myself with what you are offering, then I can definitely come there and pay for your services. So there is quality of service. And then there is how you administer the quality of the products and services that you're offering. That builds your brand 101%.
So you'd say how this relates to us, how this, the lessons we can draw from these big brands is when you're offering services, or when you if you're in business as a person, you need to choose what line or your target audience,
yes,
what you want them to experience. It's about the experience. That's what you're saying. It's differentiates brands.
Yes, yes. I will say, and I think I've mentioned it before as well, you cannot succeed in everything. A Mercedes car will never want to be Lexus. No matter how beautiful, big, prestigious Lexus is, they must always focusing on improving it. Remember, I said what you focus on the longest becomes the strongest. What does that mean? When you compare Mercedes-Benz in 1990s, in 1950s, and the current Mercedes-Benz, you will discover that they have always been growing. They've always been growing. What are they doing? They are making sure that the experience of their customers, the people who are using the brand, are getting the best experience. But if you compare, if you start today, Mercedes-Benz, they decide to do something else that is looking like Lexus or something like that, they're going to lose what we call credibility. They're starting to compare themselves with other people. And I've always said this, when you compare yourself with other people, you lose yourself. Because you are not them and they are not you. So when you look at Mercedes and these other big brands, they have identified a niche. When you look at the history of Lexus, it comes from the word luxury. So they looked at the market in the United States because that is where it started. And they realized that the people in the United States, they not only want a car or a vehicle, they want luxury. So what are they going to put in that car? Nothing less than luxury. So you have identified a niche. Then you identify an audience. So which audience do you really want to target? What are the needs of the audience that I'm targeting? Then by looking at it, you will discover that you are offering exactly what they need. If you are in business, you must always define that, because you cannot be selling for everyone. If you are selling for everyone, you do not have an audience. That's why there are people who will not afford Mercedes-Benz, no matter how much they admire it. There is a class for such people. No matter how much you admire a V8, it's a big car. Of course, one day I'm going to drive it. But it's for a class of people. Same to Vitz. It has been made for a certain audience of people to serve a specific need. So for you who is in business, you must always define that. What am I offering? Which is the audience?
Talking about audience, you know, someone goes to a high end, someone goes to the supermarket, buys tomatoes at maybe say 3 tomatoes at 100 shillings.
Yes.
The same tomatoes, when he goes to Mama Mboga,
yes,
ambiwe at 320, atakuwa like, why?
Yes.
It's just about branding, as you say.
Yeah.
When you identify your target audience, someone will not bargain because of what you've built, the brand you've built, what they associate themselves with.
Yes.
They associate themselves with class, comfortability, a sense of pride in themselves. So how do we help someone who is juggling between someone who has identified a niche but wants to venture in different things? Like if you look at, of late, I'm really following on rich people habits. Most of them will tell you have multiple businesses, have multiple streams of income. Like for example, if I'm buying a car, like if I have money to buy a car, that does not mean that I can afford the car. So if I'm buying a car, there is a source of income that fuels that car. It's responsible for that maintenance. Like it's not coming from where I used to get money. That one pulls you down. So how would you advise someone who is building a brand but wants to venture in different areas?
All right. Even before I respond to that question, I really love the way you've put it, that 3 tomatoes in a supermarket, the price is different from the one you buy from Kibandaski. You see, it's all about where you present yourself. 500 liters of water along the streets of Nairobi could be 30 shillings. When you go at Branch Hotel, let me say Lazarus, it's 100 shillings. when you go to Serena Hotel, it's 500 shillings. When you go probably to the airport, it should be 1,500 shillings. What does that? It's the same bottle, the same quantity, probably from the same industry or from the same manufacturer. You see, it's different price, but in different places because of the audience, because of the audience. But when we talk about now, you have different passions. I think it's a wrong move of identifying yourself as a brand, more especially at the initial stages of building a brand. I understand that you are very hardworking. Yes, I understand that you really want to make it. You are angry about poverty. It's like, no, I have to show people that I got this. I understand all that. I understand that where you are coming from, you only believe that it's only through hard work, diversifying my income, you know. I have to start a fertilizer business. I have to do laundry business. I have to have a hotel here. I have to be in transport business. Remember what I said. You cannot be known for everything. You can only be known for something. But realize this. When you are growing, you can diversify. But if you know you are building a brand, and you are on your initial stage, please focus. Build it, let it grow, let it stand out there, and then little by little, you start building on it by diversifying on other things that necessarily doesn't need your full attention. Because, let me use a good example. If you just started a radio station, you need the brand to go out there. But tomorrow, we are seeing you are in politics. Within 3 months, you've stopped politics. Maybe you are in dairy farming. Another day you've stopped dairy farming, you started probably importing some things from China, from UK, from Dubai. A human being has one mind. And as I said, what you focus on the longest becomes the strongest. What that means is, when you start doing something and you focus on it, your mind will always look for things or ideas, inventory ideas to make it bigger. But once your mind is divided, today you are here, today you are there, another day you are doing something else, you may not be able to exploit the full potential of the initial business that you started because it needs your attention. And when you have divided attention, even the Bible itself talks, you cannot serve 2 masters at the same time. You lose one. So I will advise anybody who has passion in different things to first of all focus on one thing, let it grow, let it be big, let it grow to a level whereby it doesn't need your personal presence. Actually, you can give it to somebody else, then you go and start something else. You'll make your work easier. In fact, you will lower your stress levels. Imagine, yes, you are passionate about all of that, but in the morning you are supposed to carry on like 3 or 4 meetings because you are diversifying. At the end of the day, you're going to have a lot of work, a lot of stress, and I can guarantee you 101%. You're going to get tired. And I'll not be surprised you lose all of those businesses.
So the secret is beginning small, getting strong, and then when you're ready on your feet, that's when you can diversify.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about keeping the promises you keep to your customers as a brand. How important is it as a brand? For example, you promised class, you promised comfortability. How do you keep that promise? I'll give an example. Let's say, for example, Bata shoes. They say that if you buy Tafis, it's a promise of quality, durability, strength, and all that. So every time you go to buy Tafis shoes for your child, you think of this shoes is going to stay for a long time. So how do you, as a brand, how do you maintain the promise you keep to your audience, and how do you manage, or how do you handle the counterfeits coming on your name? Because I've also seen that instance, for example, on social media, most influencers do their marketing through their maybe TikTok page, and then you find out that there are other counterfeit accounts that take all their videos and post on the other account. So it's like someone is sabotaging your brand. So how do you handle, or how do you move across around having to keep the promise you keep and managing counterfeits?
Every promise needs a keeper. Every promise needs a keeper. The fact that you cannot keep a promise, you're not supposed to be in business, because business is built on trust. Just like in any other industry, even on a personal level. Can you imagine if someone promised you something and they did not do it at the end of the day? Will you trust them?
No.
You cannot trust them. So many times, and I've seen this happening many times with business people, one of the things that is making them not to fulfill their promise is they are overwhelmed. They are overwhelmed. They are quite excited that, yes, I have traffic. Probably what you've been importing is of high quality. But because you have a lot of clients or a lot of orders, it's like, you're like, because I have a lot of orders and I do not want to lose these customers, I need this money, you compromise the quality for you to meet the immediate need. Only for the customers to go and get or receive what you did not present in the first place. So what happens? They lose trust in you. You lose credibility. It is better to handle that customer through excellent customer service, but explaining that, yes, we have the product, but will you be patient for 2 days, for 2 days, for 3 days, or for 1 week? Because you do not want to compromise the quality. Many people have fallen in that trap. I'll give a very good example. One of my friends one day was telling me that Jumia is selling very good AirPods. And I decided to buy for myself, and I'm sorry to say this, but this is the truth. This is a feedback even for them. What was delivered to me was not what I asked. I've never bought from them again. I've not bought from them again. No matter how beautiful they will package anything, first impression is always the last impression. So don't fall into that trap that because you have many orders, you compromise the quality. It is even better you serve 10 customers with quality service, with quality products, rather than serving 100 with less quality service or products. But looking into getting copy-paste of your brand, there are always guidelines, laws that guide that. Number one, if you do not have your business registered, someone can copy that name. Someone can run with that brand. If you do not have copyright for what you're selling, someone can easily run with that brand. So don't just go into social media because you have a beautiful name. Make sure you've followed all the procedures to protect yourself from damage. Because I have also known and realized with a lot of attention that business has been made to be very stiff competition. That instead of building healthy competition, it is building everyday unhealthy competition. That you have to do something negative for the other person who is in business for you to stand out, when it is not. Actually, we do not rise by pulling other people down. We rise by lifting others. But the fact that you are already in that industry and people are copy-pasting what you are doing, it means you do not have an original thing. Because if you are original, no one will do what you're doing. And that's why when we talked about the niche is something that is so different. You're offering something that is not in the market. And if you're doing something that other people are doing, of course, it could be there. But make sure you're offering something that nobody else is offering in the market. So that if someone else comes in the market and says that I'm offering the same product, they will doubt him. They will doubt her. But they can only do that if you yourself, you're not keeping the promise, you're not offering quality service, and your customer service is very poor. So they will not jargon around or think twice to move to the next person, no matter how fake they are.
Okay. Now, as we conclude this, what do you think? Oh, I wanted to ask something before we conclude about compromising your pricing. Like, for example, someone says, this thing, you've only spent 10 minutes. Why are you charging me this much? How do you deal with clients who try to bargain the pricing that you have as a brand?
It's about quality. If I go to the airport today, I will not complain about 500 liters of water being 1,500. and yet I can get it at 30 bob on the streets of Nairobi. I cannot complain about that one.
So the goal is to stand on business.
Yes.
Like, if you know your quality, just stand on business.
Yes.
This is my pricing. This is what I have. This is what I'm offering. If you're not onto the standard, then we go.
Actually, you see, in customer service, you cannot communicate like that. When you're telling the customer, in Swahili, people normally say, kama haufiki bei. But you see, yes, who told you that if today I cannot afford it, tomorrow I'll not afford it? Yes. So it happens many times when people feel like they have very quite expensive stuff. But you can only price your services or your products based on what you're offering. Even the way you've branded it, even the environment around it. You see, I can go and take dawa at Java at 500 shillings. The same quantity, I can get it at branch at 250 shillings. But look at the environment. Look at the quality of service. Look at them. Look at even the environment, the ambience around it. It speaks more. And therefore, I will not complain about the quality. So how do you communicate that to your customer? You don't just say, if you cannot be able to afford it, then you are out of my business. You sell the value.
Okay.
You don't sell the features. You sell the value. So how do you sell the value? You communicate how it is going to help the customer. Once they understand how, they will not have a problem buying that product. But if you only present it, many people don't know the product, but if you tell them how it will help them, they see the value, they see the need of buying it.
So the secret is solving a problem, and also quality of service, and how you speak and how you tell the story also matters.
Yes.
So as we conclude, Gamaliel, please share with us, what do you think is the future of personal branding in this digital age?
The future of personal branding is purpose. Is purpose. I cannot say much more or less than that. And allow me, I don't know how many more minutes I have.
Just continue.
Just I continue. Purpose is very important for you. Purpose sets you on a path of success. Purpose sets you on a path of victory every day. Unless you know your purpose, you will always be moving around, not knowing what to do, not knowing what to do next. And I think here is where now I discovered that indeed there is a gap in our society. In one of the programs I do is called the School of Identity. The School of Identity is helping people to know themselves and to understand what the world expects from them. Many times I've talked about this. God has never created anyone to come and loiter around and look for things that they need, actually. And when you read the Holy Book, you'll discover that everything has already been given. So the future of your brand is your purpose, because the purpose is everlasting. It's the original intention of God about you. And you see, God creates you to serve a need. So the fact that already God has built you to serve a need, it means that is already your brand. That's already your brand. But when you miss it from the initial stage, your brand will keep on changing. Your brand will keep on shifting, and you'll lose credibility. You'll lose that trust. Just to demystify on purpose, and I'll use a very simple, because you have a very beautiful phone. One of the things that the manufacturer of this phone did, he came with a purpose. The purpose was solving the need in the market. So the moment this phone stops to serve the purpose, the original intention of the manufacturer, it doesn't have credibility in the market. It has no reason for being. So your being, your brand, is your purpose. And you discover everything that this phone needs to be successful, to serve your needs, they are inbuilt in this phone. That means your phone doesn't have to depend on my phone for it to serve or for it to work effectively. As a matter of fact, that is just a manufacturer, a normal human being. They came with a purpose, they did a product, and then this is what they did. They gave you a warranty and a guarantee. In other words, they are telling you, we are 100% sure that what we are giving you is going to serve the need. For example, they will say that this phone can take a picture. How did they know? Until they tested it and they tried it. If they said that this phone can store up to 256 GB, how did they know? They tested and they told you that. So you realize even in the warranty, in the guarantee, and sometimes even you realize they always say, in case this phone has any defect, you give it to the authorized dealer or return it back to us and we'll repair it for free. All of that is not for you. It's for them. It's to protect their reputation. As I'm speaking to this, I know now you are picturing the brand. At the end of the day, I asked myself this question. If a human being could do that, what about God himself when he made me with his own likeness and his image on me? It means my success is more important to God than it is to me. Because if I do fail, it's the reputation of my manufacturer. God's limited. So I want to encourage anybody who is out there that God created you with a purpose. And until you discover your purpose, you'll always be jungling around with different kind of brands. Your brand is in your purpose.
It's to stand out.
Always remember, whatever you focus on the longest becomes the strongest. At the end of the day, and I think this is what I'll finish on, I think even it was mentioned yesterday by my pastor. I posted something on my status yesterday, and I said that when you pour a bucket of water on a rock, nothing will happen. But if you drop a drop of water, a drop every day, within 30 days, it will create a hole. It is not about intensity. It is all about consistency. So for you to build a brand, you must be consistent. Do it every day. When you wake up, this is the niche I am following. This is what I want to pursue. Do it every day. My pastor reminded us one day, he said, he quoted Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee said that I do not fear a man who knows 1,000 kicks, but I fear a man who has practiced one kick
1,000 times.
1,000 times. You got it. That is the future of branding. Consistency.
Now, as you give us your closing remark, what was the biggest challenge you faced when building permanent success, and how did you overcome it? And what is your advice to upcoming persons who are building their brand as we conclude?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. I don't think I have faced much more challenges while building the brand. Of course, I know you are aware that I started this journey when I was still a university student. But one of the things that I have faced because of what I offer, many people look at my age and they think that I could not offer, and I have proven them wrong many times. Once I have the podium, when I have an opportunity to train them, they realize this guy knows something we don't know, and that's what I'm offering. However, that doesn't mean that if I do not have challenges, people do not have challenges. Challenges come to strengthen you, but not to stop you. I was giving a story the other day. We were out with my friend and we were participating in a run, awareness of something. And after the run, they were giving us free samosa and free coffee. So the queue was quite long. So I told my friend, let's go for coffee. And then he said that the queue is long. I said, free coffee, free samosa. He said, the long is queue. The queue is very long. Then I said, free samosa. Then I decided to go for it. So what happened was, I decided to greet anybody who looked at me suspiciously. Like, why is this guy skipping the queue? It's like, how are you? Good to see you. Nice to see you. I saw you running. And nobody questioned me until I got to where I got the coffee and the samosa. So this is what happens. Many people see the obstacles that prevent them from getting what they want. So at the end of the day, when you focus on the challenges, you will not achieve your goal. You will not achieve your vision. Challenges are there to strengthen you, to give you resilience. Because when challenges come, your mind should always be thinking about innovative ideas on how to keep on winning. But when you focus on the challenge, you lose.
You lose your focus.
Whatever you focus on the longest becomes the strongest. So keep on doing it. Be encouraged. And this is where we come in as mentors, as coaches. And you know, if you do not have a plan, you will definitely lose your way. If you don't know where you're going, challenges will come, they will sway you around, and you may not be able to achieve your goals. So challenges will be there, but keep high spirits.
Keep the focus.
Yes,
what a perfect way to end this discussion.
Yes.
Challenges will be there, but you need to focus. And also, something that you mentioned, which is very key. As a young person, if you are trying to build your brand or if you're trying to move up, there will be always a challenge of your age.
Yes.
And it happens in all fields. In media, it happens. In education, it happens. And sometimes I tell people, sometimes the easiest thing to do is to don't dress your age. Just dress like a bigger person.
Yes.
And sometimes the image counts. So that is it with the Gamaliel. Thank you so much for making time for us tonight. And before we conclude this discussion, oh God, it is this morning.
Yes. Yes, it's morning.
It's morning. We have a quick feedback here from Ephraim Malungu, who says, following sense here, he says there's a lot of sense that is
Ephraim Malungu is my brother.
yes, he says there's a lot of sense that is right here on this morning show. And we want to tell you that there's a lot more our viewers can have. So you can give us where they can get you or where they can reach you out, your social media pages, or how they can reach you in case there's a corporate somewhere they want to have a session on public speaking or personal branding, or just a youth who is stuck somewhere and needs a mentor. Last week we were talking about the shortcut of careers or succeeding is to have a mentor.
Yes.
So maybe one can benefit from that. So as we conclude, before we take a short break, give us your socials, please.
Even before I give my socials, someone said even fools grow old. So age is not a matter. Yeah, you can always find me on my social media at Gamaliel Gerishom Malungu, and my brand is Permanent Success Consultancy. You can always reach out. We have very exciting products for any young person who looks toward becoming bigger than you are today. We have a group of mentors who can help you grow and can help you as well to focus on the niche that you are looking for, and you'll discover that you'll keep on growing. I don't know if it'd be appropriate for me to give my number.
Sure, you can.
Oh, sure. My name is my number is 0728 023 465, or you can write us an email at info@psctraining.co.ke. For us, we just focus on leadership and productivity and coaching as well. We've started a school. It's called the School of Identity, and this is all about awareness, helping you to know yourself, come up with a plan, and we give you free resources that will help you to achieve your goals and your dream. Welcome. We'll be very glad to have you, to host you, and to train you. Thank you, very important.
Thank you so much, Gamaliel. Now, coming up after this, a short break that you are going to take is going to be newspaper review. I'll be joined by OJWANG MARIAM and Blue Smile Hassan, who is our reporter here at KUTV. So stay tuned for the newspaper review that is coming up.